Okay. Wait to the last minute to tell me something. Hey, it's cool, man. Like I said the other day, you don't need to be worried about that right now. You need to go get married, so I'll talk to you. Yeah. But don't worry, I'll make sure to mention the shot. Partners. Yeah. Okay. I will make sure it gets covered here. Yeah. All right. All right. I told him the other day to just not worry about it. Right when he calls me to tell me. All right, guys, it's about time, I'd say. Howdy doody, everyone. Welcome to our June meeting. Please give yourself a hand. Let's make some noise in there. I want to thank everybody for coming out and spending some of your free time with us today. I know free time is hard to come by, and so I really appreciate every single one of you putting forth the time and effort the way that we like to become better at what it is that we're doing, so we can be more effective at what it is that we're doing, so that we can get there faster, because that's the goal, right? Yes. Cool. Well, so we have some awesome handouts from the Texans. I always say this. Texans for Responsible Marijuana Policy. That is a mouthful. That is a coalition of organizations that we were a part of, along with Marijuana Policy Project, Texas NORML, and a lot of other great marijuana law reform groups. And this is some of the most, if not the most, current information out there about bullet points, talking points, and some of the things that we're making sure that we're covering whenever we're talking to our lawmakers, media, etc. So there's a bunch of handouts right here. If you don't have a handout, raise your hand and we will get you some. But otherwise, I want to introduce one of our founding members of DFW NORML back when it was created back in 2005, Elisabeth Rodriguez. She has been working to change marijuana policy for a long time in this state. Everybody please give Elisabeth a hand. I'd also like to really quick introduce a couple of board members. Steve Williams just walked in. He is our compliance officer. Hello, Steve. Okay. Eric Espinosa over here, the new chapter secretary. If you're getting a membership card, he's going to mail it to you along with Nicolette, our intern over here, summer intern with UTA. She's extremely awesome. And finally, our deputy director, excuse me, that's a long time ago. Deputy director, Adam Hess. Everybody give our board a hand. Our volunteers who are here doing their thing. I appreciate everybody for being here. I think this is going to be a really, really effective use of an hour and a half of your time. I think that you're going to leave here with much more ammunition than you had when you walked in here for changing somebody's mind about marijuana in the state of Texas. Does that sound exciting? All right, cool, guys. Well, I'm going to get off my soapbox here. I'm going to turn it over to Elisabeth. We're going to try to make this a little bit more interactive than some of our previous ones. So if you don't know your representatives yet, we're going to get to know them today. We're going to find out together with a little worksheet and have a little, maybe even some role playing. I want to get some of these people up here and pretend to talk to a representative, I think, at the end of this, if we got some time. Does that sound cool, guys? All right. Well, thanks, everybody. I appreciate it. Give Elisabeth a hand one more time. I hope you do it.
But I helped get this chapter started back in 2005. It's been really, really cool to see it grow and change so much, and just over that time period, see this country's attitude towards marijuana legalization change, and Texas as well. So back in the day, it was kind of like a small group of people with a crazy degree, but now it's legitimately, it's a thing that's going to happen soon, that we worked for. And so it's just really cool to see that. We have a couple of handouts. There's your medical cannabis one is 3 pages, and it's kind of some talking points and myths and rebuttals. The civil penalties, there's some talking points, and then there's a couple of things specifically about meeting your representative. We got this as a worksheet, so we'll fill that out. And there's some kind of some do's and don'ts to visit your representative and senator's office. So the reason that we have to go, talk to our senators and our representatives is because that's the only way that we're going to change laws in Texas. The only way to pass a law is for a member of the legislature to introduce it, and it gets voted on, and then it passes and signed by the governor. So we can't just have a petition or something like that. So that's the process. I think it's designed to be complicated, and so we have to work a little harder to make things happen. And it's crazy because there's so much support in Texas for marijuana legalization. I mean, for legalization as a whole, but especially for medical uses. And the legislature is kind of like taking baby steps. So it's really important that we meet with all of our representatives and we talk to people from all across the state and the Metroplex. Just the Dallas-Fort Worth area covers a lot of different representatives. So if we each go out there and talk to ours, then they're all hearing from all of us, and they know, how seriously the Texans are taking this issue. And so, you can send an email, you can call, but the most effective thing you can do is go talk to them in person and have a face-to-face meeting. And I think that, for every one person that's going into the office and talking to them, they know there's hundreds more that feel that way. It's not as scary as you think if you've never done it. I know it can be kind of intimidating, but it's not too bad. It's not too bad. Sometimes you're just talking to your representatives, maybe their aides, not them themselves. It kind of depends. If you have someone who's newer, like my representative is Craig Goldman. He's only been representative for a couple of years, so we actually got a meeting with him face to face. But sometimes when they're in there a long time, you're just meeting with their aides. But that's still incredibly powerful. And kind of an aside on that, a lot of times these people, the staffers, they're younger and they're politically oriented, and sometimes their personal beliefs are very in line with what we're trying to do. Last year we went to the Capitol in Texas, and we would want to talk to somebody, and he would kind of blow us off. But their staffer was like, "Hey, give me your handouts. I'm going to talk to him. I'm personally in support of you guys." So that's a very good relationship to develop there as well, because they're in their ear. So the first thing we're going to do is find out who represents you. Probably we all have our phones here. It's really easy. If you just Google, I Googled too. I've done it so many times. It's right here on my phone. But who represents me or who represents me Texas? It's going to take you to this website. The actual website is www.fyi.legis.state.tx.us. But so that should be like the first thing that comes up if you Google who represents me, Texas. So go ahead and do that. And then you can fill in your address. I think you can do it by zip code too, but it's going to show you everyone in your zip code. That's not necessarily, it's going to show multiple people. So go ahead and put in your address. Okay, and it tells you everyone who's representative. So let's say just take my worksheet here. Just fill it out. So maybe you don't know before now, maybe you know but you've never contacted this person before. So you guys, like I said, Craig Goldman is my rep, and then Kay Granger is my congressperson. So is my senator. Oh, okay, thank you. Can you give me the website again? Sure. Okay, it's www.fyi.legis, like legis, like the beginning of legislature. fyi.legis. Oh. I'll do it. Yeah, I have all the right kids and stuff. He brings me a pen and I'm like saying it out loud, you guys. All right. Just fill it out, and it's going to tell you, like your U.S. congressperson. It's going to tell you your Board of Education member, your U.S. senators. But so who you really want to focus on is your Texas representative and your Texas senator. So we're talking about basically the Texas fight today. So you can use this worksheet. You can fill out their office address, phone number. Right now, they're going to be at home in their office. Like Craig Goldman is just right down the street for me. I just get on the highway for about 2 minutes and he's right there. So this is a really good time to visit them because they're at home. If you wait till the legislative session, I mean, that's definitely good too. And we have these lobby days where, last year we got on a couple of buses and took everybody to Austin. And that was just a cool experience because maybe you've been there, maybe you've seen the Capitol or even gone inside it, but we were actually, going to these representatives' offices and talking to them. And that was just really cool to see, lawmaking in action. But then, it's a short session. It only happens every 2 years. Thousands of bills get introduced. So it's hard to really get their attention there in Austin. But if you start now when they're at home, after you start building that relationship with them, then when you get out of the lobby, they're like, oh yeah, that's Elisabeth. I've talked to her about marijuana legalization a couple of times already. So now's a really good time to do it. The next legislative session starts January 10th, 2017, and goes to May 29th. And I think I was looking at the numbers for the last session. It was like 12,000 bills were introduced, and like less than half of that, anything actually happened on them. So there's a deluge of bills, and it's like it's every 2 years. It's just a very short period of time. It's crazy. A lot of stuff happens there. A lot of stuff has to get done. So really now, it's never too early now. It's the perfect time to talk to your representative. Elections are this November. They're November 8th, Tuesday, November 8th this year. So maybe your representative or senator is going to get, and there'll be a new one after the fall. For me, mine have stayed the same for the last several years that I've been, kind of talk to them. Especially if they've been in there a while, you kind of know they're gonna stay the same. Usually the Republicans are going to be in there a while, so you're not, wasting your time by talking to them now. Okay, so have you guys? Does anybody have any ideas? You could have Craig Goldman or Jane Nelson. It's kind of far from home. Oh yeah, that's right. You do. You do. She's tough to get a hold of. Definitely, I've made multiple requests to her office for a meeting, and it's kind of always stalled out. But Goldman is pretty approachable. So
she just does a certain district and then like Cruz and has a whole state.
Right. There are representatives in the United States Congress. So yeah. So when you find on that website, we're just focusing on the Texas one. You're going to have one senator and one congressperson. So when you go to contact them, if they're a local office, you're going to call the number that's local, not the Austin number. They're not there right now. Just tell them, I say, hi, my name's Elisabeth Rodriguez. Usually they want to verify your address, make sure you're calling the right place. But I just tell them, I'd like to have a meeting with the senator because I have some things I'd like to talk to her about marijuana legalization. But they don't even miss me. They're just like, okay, where do you live? And what exactly do you want to talk to her about? And, I've said I want to talk about medical marijuana and, children suffering from medical conditions who need medical cannabis. And she's asking, okay, well, are you a parent? Are you a medical marijuana patient yourself? Which, I'm not. But so they have kind of these follow-up questions that made me think that, lots of people have been calling and talking about it. And then sometimes you'll get or with okay, someone says it's scheduled, they'll call you back, but they're not going to grill you like, why do you want to come talk about marijuana? That's an illegal drug. What's your address again? I mean, they're not going to come after you. I think that was like the scariest thing for me. I was like, if I'm going to put myself out there, my name, my address and phone number, and if I'm talking about marijuana, like, am I going to get a visit from the cops? But the answer is no. I don't know anyone that's ever had anything like that happen to them. It just doesn't happen. They're not going to do it. So for me, that was like scary thing number one. So yeah, just call and ask if you can make an appointment. Sometimes you'll get an email. You don't want to harass them, but be persistent. A couple of phone calls, a couple of emails. Just keep following up. Let them know, whenever she has an availability, I'd like to come in and I'm pretty flexible. Or let's say you work, and you're like, I can take off some time in the morning, so these mornings are better for me. But once you get it scheduled, then you want to start preparing for your meeting. So this sheet can help you with that also. So we have like a note section on here. I think one of the best things to do is research your representative. What are the issues that are important to them? You can go on the Texas State Legislature website and find out like what bills they passed or what bills they've supported. Is it veterans issues? Is it children's issues? There's just so many things. They kind of have a focus on what they want to work on. So find out what's important to them, and you can connect with them in that way. I mean, anything from maybe you went to the same college. I mean, there's lots of ways you can connect with these people, and they're just people, and they love the legislative process. They don't get paid a lot of money to do this, but they do it for the love of government and lawmaking in Texas. So you can definitely connect with them on a human level. We have a place for you to write down when you go ahead and have an appointment with them. And we have a space for personal introductions. This says, roots in the community, personal experience, primary reason for advocacy. Just talk about who you are. Maybe you've been active in your church for 20 years. Maybe you're a parent. I'm a parent. I talk about that. Maybe you're a student. Maybe you're a business owner. I'm a student. I'm in law school. I'm in my second year of law school at Texas A&M School of Law in Fort Worth. So, I've lived in Texas my whole life. There's just plenty of things, to kind of present yourself. This is why I'm here. This is why I care about Texas laws. And then we have the space for top 3 points of discussion. So, choose the 3 most important points you'd like to make during your meeting. I think you can talk about a lot of things, but you want to have kind of a narrow focus. And we have some more examples of things that we can talk about in these meetings. But it's okay to take notes on here and to bring in your notes. I mean, maybe, you know it cold when you're talking to your friends or your family about legalization, but once you get in there, in front of your senator, it's a little scary. You can figure out what you're talking about. It's fine to bring in your notes and to make sure you make the points that you want to make. So I think some people have come in since they started. This is the website where you can find out who represents you. You can just go in there, put in your address. It's going to tell you a bunch of different people. It's going to tell you your U.S. Congressman and everything, what you're looking for, your Texas Senator, and your Texas House of Representatives member. So that will tell you who they are. And you're going to look for their local contact information because they're not in Austin right now. They won't be there until the beginning of next year. Okay. I guess at this point, does anyone have any questions about finding your rep or setting up a meeting or how to go about setting up a meeting or anything like that? I want to make sure it's kind of open to, yeah.
Have you ever had a conversation with representatives or someone that was like asking vigorous questions and nobody didn't respond?
Yeah, that's a good question. I haven't personally in any one-on-one meetings. When we did lobby day, you could tell that there were people that didn't really care. They didn't really want to hear it. And so they were just kind of trying to get you out of the office. Like, okay, well, yes, thank you for this information. Yes, this issue is important to me. And I'm very busy. Goodbye. But no, I've never had a personal experience or heard from anyone else that they've had an experience where someone was like, attacking them or saying, no, you're wrong. This is a really bad idea. And they'll say things like, well, hey, we have to be tough on crime. We can't let the kids be doing drugs. You can tell them, well, actually in Colorado, where it's been legal for adult, responsible use, teen use of marijuana has actually gone down. So there's these kind of statistics you can arm yourself with that when you hear these old, scare tactics, think of the children, or, there's always some kind of things you can say because they don't want to seem soft on crime. But maybe, maybe you're soft on crime if you're arresting marijuana users and murderers and rapists are just running around out there not getting arrested. Mm-hmm.
They'll also say that they've heard the information that you've given them or presenting them before. So that presents you with a kind of a chance to quiz them on it and how good they actually know that knowledge. Yeah. If they're just kind of BSing you and trying to get you out of the office, or if they've actually had that information before. And if they had, then that's your chance to, back it up to count it home.
Yeah, if you don't like culture's good or something like that, you can usually walk out.
Yeah, exactly. You build on that. And say, yeah, exactly. This is the newest study or whatever. Like she said, quicker arrows in your quiver. The more knowledge you have, the better.
If it's your first time,
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so you
Yeah.
general control, I guess. This might be also good, but advocacy as a strategy. With regards to states, what role has been frontal representatives play, or has it been has there been equal pressure to change laws to reduce the or general population studies done by the government? How's that fit with you?
I don't know about that. I don't know exactly in other states. You know, every state's different. Some states you can put a bunch of signatures on a ballot and then on a petition, and then there's like a ballot referendum and the state itself votes on it, which is not how it's set up here. So all states are kind of set up differently. But I think basically
The only thing we have is you guys, you know, these passionate individuals who are willing to step up and say, okay, law needs to change and here's why, and we need to get this done. Because we don't have millions of dollars. You know, we're not like the NRA or these huge lobbyist groups that they ask for money. You